This is Into the Fire.
It is just incredible to welcome to Into the Fire the professional boxer, Australian champion, the man with the lead gloves and dog determination a champion needs, Joel CamaKO Camilleri. Nice to meet you, Joel.
Thanks, mate. Great introduction. Better than my own.
Awesome to have you on, mate. Now, you grew up in the western suburbs of Melbourne, playing soccer as a goalkeeper. Was it here you got the love of the gloves?
Yeah, pretty much in Melbourne, man. Just growing up in Melbourne's West, pretty bit of a rough place. You know what I mean? We used to always put on the gloves and fight in the garage. And walked into a kickboxing gym first and fell in love with it. Yeah, well, I changed to boxing till when I was 16 years old, so I'm loving it. It's been about 15 years now. I mean, I'm getting old.
Yeah, doing awesome as well.
Thanks, mate.
No problem. Now, you went into kickboxing first. What makes a 15-year-old guy decide, you know what, I want to go out and let people try and knock my head off for fun?
I don't know. I just really got over team sport. In soccer, I was a goalkeeper. Played basketball growing up. Your parents force you into a sport. I don't know, just always wanted to be the standout kid. I always looked weak, but I was always a real tough kid. And only my mates knew I was tough. So I think walking to kickboxing gym, doing a bit of fighting and just showing everyone how tough I was just a bit of a goal of mine.
Yeah, did you enjoy basketball back in the day?
I did. I wasn't that good at it. I was not a bad defender, but I don't know, man. Just same as I said, like team sports, losing a game, I hated relying on other people to win a game.
Yeah, definitely. After 16 amateur fights, you and your trainer decided it was time to make the transition to professional boxing and set your eyes on one day achieving the dream of becoming a world champion. Were you a little bit scared of that jump to the big leagues?
To be honest, when it first was announced, because I had my last amateur fight, got a pretty bad decision. We all lost it.
Yeah.
One of my trainers got banned from the amateurs, and we turned pro. Got a phone call from the promoter to my trainer saying, because Michael Zarafa was meant to fight, and we were teammates, and he was going to pull out because he was sick. So the promoter goes, mate, how about Joel? Does he want to fight? So didn't have too long to think about it. But once the night came, I remember my song coming on, and I was absolutely shitting myself. Nerves going through my body. I was like, oh, mate, I was actually scared.
Yeah, must have been nervous. Thought so.
Yeah.
Big fight. Now, you're also a qualified teacher. You would be so good. I could imagine it. Hey, sit down, kid. I'm a professional boxer. Bet you wouldn't see any behavior. Do you think that's what you do when you retire? My dad's a teacher, and he says keep fighting.
Okay. No, to be honest, I think teaching serves its purpose. I love teaching students. I was a high school, secondary school teacher, so the age of 12 to 18. Really loved it, man. Loved inspiring kids. And just learning how to control a big group of little teenagers trying to run amok. But to be honest, after boxing, I think I'll get more into doing seminars around all schools and sporting clubs rather than becoming a school teacher. Man, that's a bit of hard work.
Well, you won your first fight in the way of a knockout against a formidable opponent in Yatana Wongda in 2012. You must have been on a high after that fight.
Yeah, he had about 20 pro fights. He'd lost a few before he fought me. It was just the unknown. Not sure how good he was. And once I beat him and knocked him out, it was like I was on a high. It was a great feeling.
Yeah, it would have been. In 2018, you won the welterweight Victorian title and also the WBC Asian Boxing Council welterweight title, earning the number 2 ranking in Australia in the welterweight division. Life must have been good at that time.
Yeah, it was all going good, man. It was my first. I had the Victorian title fight, which I drew the first time. I won that fight, won the belt. Then I dropped down to welterweight, won a regional title. I moved to number 2 in Australia. I had a world rating as well at welterweight. But I was on a high, but there's so many more goals to achieve. So I tried to stay real composed.
Yeah, must be pretty honoured with all those achievements.
Yeah, it was. But at the same time, there's a lot of achievements that was only the start of it. It kind of made me realize that where I can get to, and also made me realize that I had a long way to go.
Yeah, definitely. In 2019, you won the Australian Super Welterweight title, earning the number 4 ranking in Australia and number 78 in the world in the Super Welterweight division. How big is the difference between 78 and 1, or is it more about the opportunity?
78 to 1. Okay, I get you now.
Yeah.
Well, it's a huge difference, man. Like,
Yeah,
there's, with the right management, you can work your way up to a good ranking. But to get to a top 10 or even top 5 ranking, it's a massive challenge. You're fighting against guys all over the world. So all of my fights were against, Australians, Filipinos, Thais, New Zealanders. But when you're moving over to the top guys who are, the Mexicans, the Americans, and the Ukrainians, and that, they're another force to be reckoned with.
yeah, I reckon you're good enough though.
I'll get there, mate.
Yeah, I know you will. In 2021, you won the WBC Australasia Super Welterweight title. What are your goals now, mate, and how high can you get?
Well, that got me like around the top 35 WBC ranking. It's very hard to climb WBC.
Yeah.
My goal is a world title. If you asked me 2 years ago, I'd have been like, I don't see myself winning a world title. But since then, three fights, 3 wins. You look at how good Tim Zoo's going, number 4 in the world, rated number 1 in a few organizations. So, I believe that I can get there. It may take 12 to 18 months, to get to a good stage, but I'm hoping in the next 18 to 24 months, I'll get a world title shot.
Yeah, I reckon you can. Now, you're such a humble guy. Let's be honest, that doesn't always fit the mold of boxers. Are most of the boxers all show on the camera and different off it? Or are you a bit like people like Harry Garside are in the boxing community?
You know what? I think the people who are loudmouths, there's 2 reasons. One is they've been told to be loudmouths and to try to promote themselves. I used to be like that as well. Before my fights, writing, I'm going to put that guy to sleep. I'm going to knock him out. He's not going to wake up. But all this kind of stuff. But as I've grown older, I'm 31 now. I've had 27 pro fights. I've realized that that's actually just insecurity speaking.
Yeah.
I'm secure in myself. I know where I've got to go. And when I look someone in the eye and I'm going to beat them these days, then it's 100% truth.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, man.
Yeah. Now, talking of Harry, you're on shows as a boxing analyst as well. How will Harry go now that he's decided to go pro?
Harry's a real interesting guy. Like, as in, he's really committed. He when he was up in Brisbane, he was training out of the gym I train at, and he just goes to the gym. He's really committed. He's got belief in himself and the desire to be a world champion. It's a massive transition. It doesn't matter how good you go in the amateurs. The pros are a different total sport. But then again, he's an awkward kind of fighter. He's a southpaw who believes in himself. And, his first fight will be on my undercard, November 17th. So looking forward to seeing how well he goes.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome to watch, isn't it?
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah. You got to fight the big thing in Australian boxing, Tim Tszyu. First things first, he seems like a good guy. Is he a good fella? The kid can fight, can't he?
Yeah, no, he's brought up, in the fighting environment with his dad. Tim Tszyu's one of the most humble people who has a real small circle, and
Really?
I'm glad to be a part of it. We're good friends now. I wish him all the best, but he's an absolute gentleman.
Yeah, he sounds like it. Sounds like an awesome guy.
Yeah.
Now, the fact he's a great fighter shows how good you are. You went the whole way with him only losing on points, and he was real quick to tell the world how good you are. He actually said he just defeated a champion, and he learned more in that fight than his whole career. So thanks. That must have felt good. Was it this fight you thought, you know what, I can win a world title?
You know what? I wasn't too sure after that because, after that fight, I've come home. My trainers tried to retire me from there. So a bit of mixed emotions where people were saying I've done well. My trainer's trying to retire me, saying I've got no future in sport. It was at that moment where I had to kind of find myself, man. I left Melbourne, headed to Brisbane 3 weeks later. Met Jeff Horn's trainer and Jeff Horn, and ended up moving states, leaving my family behind. So it wasn't that moment that kind of made me realize how good I was. It kind of made me realize that I needed to find out who I was and how much I did believe in myself.
Yeah, of course. Did you, when you was with Jeff Horn's trainer, did you see Jeff Horn?
Yeah, we trained together. We sparred many
Yeah.
rounds together. Me and Jeff are still good mates till today. We still catch up every now and then. He's a real funny guy, Jeff Horn.
Yeah, he is. Awesome guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. I would imagine boxing is all about self-belief. I mean, if you think you aren't good enough, the result could be disastrous. Honest question, do you ever get scared before a fight?
Yeah, when I was mentioning about being scared of my first pro fight, it's more nerves.
Yeah.
I'm never scared of my opponent. You have two sides of your brain. One might say, "Oh, my opponent's a beast." The other
Yeah.
side saying, "No, I'm going to smash him." I get nervous. The fear I have is losing. The fear
Yeah.
I have is losing and where my career is going to go from there. But once you get a good mindset of all I can do on this night is do my best, that's the mindset. If anyone who tells you they're not scared, to anyone who tells you they're not nervous, they're just in denial.
Yeah, nervous is a very common thing, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Yeah. Now, you have the toughest chin in Australia, and you have a really heavy hands. You have a big fight coming up in November. Tell me about it and what your opponent will be up against. I thought you were fighting Kappa, but your Insta says Mazudia. Did something change?
Yeah, because of COVID and stuff, man. Like required a COVID vaccine, which West Kappa didn't want to get. Also, quarantining the way back for 2 weeks. It makes no sense for someone's team to have to quarantine for 2 weeks. We don't make that much money. Well,
Yeah.
they don't anyway, as in like the trainers. Colin Mazudia, nothing changes for me. He's the same height. He's got 2 arms, 2 legs. He's an orthodox fighter as well. 8 wins, 2 losses, hungry. Real good amateur pedigree, but I truly believe that I'm going to be too much for him, too experienced, too smart in the ring, and I'm going to give him a massive headache, and not just mentally but physically as well.
Well, it's going to be an interesting fight, but just between you and me, I reckon you've got it in the bag.
Thanks, mate. I've won already.
Now, I have to bring this up, buddy. There's been so much talk of Michael Zarafa saying you're delusional and having brain damage. I'm taking it you don't love him. What is the chance of you fighting him at the end of the year? Knocking him out would be a great Christmas present, I'm guessing.
Nah, to be honest, man, there's a bit of bad blood. They called me out after a fight because they were offended by a post that I shared when they pulled out of their fight. And we answered the call, said we'll fight him later in the year. And he just denied it and said I was brain dead, delusional. But
scared,
I swore no, he's not scared. He's just delusional. He's actually delusional, man. I'm not brain dead. The fight was offered, but no, he's at middleweight. I think he'll go on to fight Isaac Harbour next year. So I've got a few other opponents to meet, but I'd love a fight with him. I'd love it.
It would be very interesting. Yeah. Okay, here's some questions I'd love to know. Do you ever feel bad when you knock someone out?
No, not really, man. I only feel bad when I see their family after it, hugging them in the back room,
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever wished you weren't in a fight during it?
Oh, man, a few times.
Yeah.
I remember being in fights, like after a few rounds, and, man, just like, my eyes gone fuzzy. I've got
hurting
a headache,
everywhere.
or
yeah.
Oh, mate, dehydrated, cramping, different kind of things. But at the end of the day, it's your mind's. It's a weird thing, man. You'll never understand it, but the more you do, the better you'll be.
Yeah, boxing is a tough sport. Do you ever have idiots saying stuff to you when you're out in the public?
No, not really, man. Everyone always asks that question, do I ever get kind of started back in Melbourne? But to be honest, man, in Melbourne, I knew everyone there. Everyone respected me. I respected everyone. So no one ever tried to start a fight with me, which is kind of a good thing. So, no, it's good to be loved. There's not too many people who hate Joel CamaKO Camilleri.
Yeah, and it's a good place down in Melbourne, isn't it?
It is. Whereabouts are you again?
Down in SA. So good with no COVID as well. So yeah, it's a good place down here.
That's awesome, man. Awesome.
Maybe come visit sometime.
I have to. I've been there before. I have to come again. I've been there in about 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
In 2012, you said unfortunately you followed Carlton. It's 9 years. It's 9 years on, and nothing has changed. Nah.
Oh man, Carlton. Who do you go for?
I go for
Adelaide.
the Crows, so I can't really say anything, can I? But
Oh mate, you know what? I was born into it. You know, there's things you're born with. One's family, and one's an AFL team when you're from Melbourne. And that, you know, so
yeah, it is.
I don't. Oh mate, my emotions get in the way. I stopped going to the games. Like I've got an AFL membership, so I go to all games, any
Yeah.
team. But no emotion involved with Carlton no more. They're terrible.
Nah, yeah, we can't talk about that anymore. Well, Joel, boxing is a very important sport to show the flamboyant side of your personality. When you win, you have to celebrate. I mean, when you can't do all that work and then pound away from the round after round, and then not celebrate after the match. I gave the celebration to Harry Garside, and when he did it, it took him to the bronze medal. It's the one thing that will take you from Aussie champ to world champion. You win fights, you give them this baby into the fire. Oh,
Alright.
nice. I like that.
There
That
we
might
go.
be my favourite one ever, I reckon.
Right. Beautiful.
Awesome, mate. Well, I can't thank you enough, Joel, for coming onto my show today. You're a legend of Australian boxing and a legend of a guy. Keep punching, mate, and good luck on November 17th. I'll be watching.
Thanks a lot, man. You're the best interview I've ever seen in my life. Thanks a lot,
Oh,
bro.
thank
Hey,
you so
one more
much.
time. There we go, Ruz.
Love it.
Hey, for me, give me a headbutt. See you, mate.
Oh.
Thank you.